Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We have got a fantastic show lined up for you today, and you won't want to miss a second. So stick around, everybody, for this week's edition of Sports Central. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and it's almost Turkey Day, man.
Yeah, not what we got, a week from yesterday. We'll be sitting there wondering why we ate so much and watching football.
Well, that's a daily occurrence for me. But hey, this first segment brought to us by BSN Sports, a great partner of tourism and sports marketing, and we mentioned it before, but first a 3-year agreement. And now we've extended it for 5 years. So BSN Sports, as well as our partnership with Under Armour, we truly appreciate them and everything they bring to the table for us. Speaking of partners, a few weeks ago we did a little bit of a college university takeover. We're going to do it again for this show, and we're excited because Weber International University has been a fantastic partner of tourism, sports marketing, but really Polk County. So we're going to get a chance to talk and look at a couple different areas of the athletic program. And to start this first segment, we're going to welcome Brad Niethammer, Weber International Athletic Director, and I want to call you Coach. You were a coach for a very long time, so is it okay if I just call you Coach?
That's perfect.
All right, well, welcome to Sports Central, and we certainly appreciate your time. You were named the Interim Athletic Director in July 2020. What a time to earn that role with everything that was going on in the world.
Yeah, that was a nice little challenge to step into an interim role with all the COVID and things that we had to deal with. So I think that the way I approached it, if I could handle that, then I was definitely ready to take the job, because it was challenging. But I think Weber and all the staff did a very good job with it, and hopefully we're past that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about, before we get into some of your day-to-day responsibilities as the athletic director, let's go back to what you did for a very long time on the coaching side, and what originally brought you to Weber? Because I think when you came, it was actually Weber College, correct?
Correct. So it was kind of I think I just kind of fell into it. I left college, had an opportunity to go to spring training with the Texas Rangers right out of graduating from college. When I left there, I started helping out at Lake Wells High School. Had the opportunity to coach there for a year, then went to Frostproof High School, and then I was just approached from the people at Weber saying they were going to start the baseball program and asked me if I was interested, so I got to interview and ended up being fortunate to get the job.
Awesome. Obviously being coach, 760 games or so there with Weber, and a long tenure there. What made you want to kind of step outside of that and get into a new realm of the administrative side and the position you're in now as the AD?
I think the biggest reason, I was just ready for a new challenge. I started when I was 25 and coached for 26 years. We had some success, down the stretch, and I was just ready to. The type of player I think has changed a little bit. I hate to think I'm one of the old school guys, because I used to look at others as the old school coaches. But things change, and I think I was ready to just take on another challenge. And then I also had a person in place that I felt like would step in and do an awesome job in Colin Martin. So that made the transition really easy.
Wonderful.
760 wins in coaching. I know a lot of times coaches that are in it say, I don't look at that stuff. I don't know what the numbers are. When you were done, did you look at that? I mean, there has to be a sense of accomplishment or personal accomplishment. That's a lot of wins.
Yeah, but you haven't mentioned the losses.
We didn't put that down. It's still a lot of wins.
Yeah. If we don't talk about it, it didn't happen.
I mean, I think I was ranked in the top 20 of active coaches at the time. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of games when I look back on it. And I've actually, there were a few times I looked at that, and, if you're above 500 in coaching, especially on the higher level, you've done a pretty good job. There's very few coaches, even if you look on the major league level, that their records are outstanding. A lot of coaches that are 500 bounce around and get different jobs, you know, time after time. But it's a lot of games, but, you know, the time flew. I do know that. And when I look back on it, I wonder where it went, because I can remember the first season in 1994, and I still communicate with some of those guys that played for me, and it seems like yesterday, not 26 years ago.
Yeah.
So what in those 700 plus wins and then the losses that you're talking about, we don't have it here, so we're not going to put a number to it. But
Right.
What in that experience, I think you said 26 years, what in the 26 years of your coaching experiences, the wins and the losses prepared you for, March 2020, seemingly the world shut down, and you take over as the interim AD in July of 2020. So what prepares you to, not so much the COVID side of it, I mean, COVID, yes, but just the day-to-day grind of being an athletic director with college programs?
I think being a coach, you have to learn how to adjust and adapt if you're good. And that's just like life. I've always joked and would tell people the t-shirt you see, baseball is life. There's a lot of truth to that with the ups and downs in baseball. And if you can deal with the downs, the ups are going to be okay. But I think coaching, I tell people all the time, the only difference between being an athletic director and a coach is you're coaching coaches instead of coaching players. It's still kind of the same philosophy. You're trying to be an example and a role model for them, help them out the best you can. And when you're a head coach, you're doing the same for your student athletes. It's just they're a little bit more on the immature side and growing up, and it's more of a role model. But I also have, young coaches on staff as well as people that are veteran coaches. So I feel like there's a lot of the same traits that you carry over from coaching to administration. That's probably why you see so many coaches that retire go into administration.
Yeah. Coming to Weber in 94, I believe it was, 93, 94, and being there for over 20 years now, just speak of some of the things that you guys have been able to do at Weber University now, originally college, through those time, and kind of how Weber has grown and what it's grown into today.
It's probably tough to think of all the different things that have happened from, I've seen some aerial pictures of what it used to be even before we had the baseball field. Yeah. So when I first started, we had the opportunity to build, I think softball was built right before, a couple years prior to baseball. Then we added, the baseball field, the baseball program. The latest things that we've done, we've just refinished the gym floor, new bleachers in our gym. We've got a new turf field for football and lacrosse and soccer plays out there on occasion. Trying to think what else we have done. I'm at a blank right there.
Well, I mean, that's a lot right
yeah,
there.
That's a lot.
You're talking about the football team competing on campus. And of course, we're gonna talk to Coach in our next segment. But just the growth and if you could, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but talk about how important athletics are to, we see it at the major college football and other, almost state universities, if you will. It's just as important to the small colleges as well for the athletics being a part and that pride, right?
Right. Well, we're definitely athletic driven. I mean, the percentage of athletes you'll hear through the years, we've heard from 95 to 98% depending on each year's enrollment. So about everywhere you look, you're going to see a student athlete of some sort. I think when I first started, we had about 300 student athletes, and this fall we had over 780 student athletes. So the growth has been in athletics, and we continue. I think our newest programs that we've added, we had men and women's lacrosse that participated in their first season last year, and women's flag football, which our women's flag football team participated in. They played the very first game in women's collegiate flag football. So Weber has that in the record books as to being the first team to compete through the NAI on that.
Wonderful. Volleyball, and Gerald, I don't know if you know this, but the bowling team's kind of good too.
Yeah.
they're okay, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the bowling team's probably been our most successful sport through the years. but we have had some others that have won some championships. And you know, the goal is to, you were asking about the coaching to the administration. I'm just trying to take some of the same things I tried to do with the baseball program and just put that same position with the athletic department, you know, grow the facilities and try to become more competitive across the board with all sports.
Speaking of that, you know, you talked about the things that you guys added there with flag football, lacrosse, so forth. What's on the, what's kind of coming up for Weber that, you know, whether it's new sports that are being added, new things that are being built, what's on the horizon and kind of down the road that that's coming for Weber?
Sport-wise, I don't have anything on the horizon at the moment because I think with our facilities we are pretty close to being maxed out. Some of our top priorities that we're trying to do facility-wise, we want to add lights to the turf field. We want to get bleachers and press box for that. We need to add some additional locker rooms, and then we also are currently having some plans drawn up for a multi-purpose building. So basketball, volleyball, and our cheer programs can use that because our gym pretty much runs as soon as class is out at 3:15. They're practicing until 11 o'clock at night. So we need another facility so we can give our student athletes a little bit better experience so they're not staying up half the night just trying to get a practice in.
That's great. Well, we appreciate the time. Of course, you can go to weberathletics.com for more information if you're looking to go down there, take a look at the campus, the facilities, and we truly appreciate your time and look forward to having you back on soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, that's fantastic. Well, another fantastic event that's held annually here in Polk County is Jeepin with Judd. Of course, that's held out at Clear Springs Land Company property in Bartow. It will be coming up February 25th through the 27th. Of course, that's in 2022. And we're going to look at some old footage of Jeepin with Judd. Stick around right here on Sports Central because Gerald and Neal will be right back.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Grady Judd, and welcome to 2021 Jeepin with Judd. This is the Polk Sheriff Charity Fundraiser where we raise a lot of money and then we help those that are less fortunate in the community. And you know, we couldn't make this work without all of the volunteers that help us. One of our #1 volunteer that's out here today supervising is Chairman Rick Wilson. He is our chairman of the Board of County Commissioners and one of my friends.
Grady, it is great to be here, and this is unbelievable what's been going on here. You know, I've came in the past couple years and came out here, and this thing just keeps growing. I mean, this is a great piece of property, and we're going to run out of room before long.
Yeah, this is year 7 of Jeepin with Judd. This is the 7th year that we've actually run the trail rides. The Orlando Jeep Club has been involved with this since day 1. Great year. We're super happy with the turnout this year. It's incredible. A lot of changes this year to the setup of camping and registration.
Why don't you tell us about, you know, when did you start this? I mean, and how did it get started?
7 years ago, Stan, who owned Clear Spring Mines, allowed us to use this property as a fundraiser. Stan bought this property a long time ago, and he's since passed away. But you know what he told me before he passed away and told his family? This helps the community. This is healthy. This is what we want to happen. So he ensured that even after he passed, Clear Springs would still assist us. So we thank all the staff and the family for still allowing us to raise money with Polk Sheriff Charities, Jeepin with Judd, and plugging this money back into the community.
The weather is beautiful. Currently, we have 2,000 Jeeps that are registered for the event. We cut it off at 2,000 Jeeps because of COVID and not knowing exactly what our manpower was for the event. So we held it back a little bit. We had about 2,400 Jeeps last year. $2,342 Jeeps on trail rides just on Friday alone, and I expect that today will probably be over 3,000 Jeeps will make it through the trail ride lines today.
And you know, you've got so many volunteers out here. I mean, how many volunteers do you have that come here?
We probably have 300 volunteers. You know, the Orlando Jeep Club helps us. They bring about 130 to 150 people. If it weren't for the Orlando Jeep Club and their great work, we would struggle.
Yes. But like I said, I mean, I look around and it's just Jeeps everywhere. You know, we had an event in downtown Bartow that really, I mean, there was, I don't know how many Jeeps were there last night. They had the Show and Shine event, and there was a lot. And but for downtown Bartow, that's just an economic boost for them. I mean, there was a lot of people down there, and it just helps the overall community.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and this segment brought to us by the Hampton Inn Winter Haven. Have you ever been out to Jeepin with Judd?
I haven't. Looks like a very, very fun event to partake in as a participant. Don't have a Jeep, but...
What was the February 25th through the 27th? Of course, that all proceeds go to Polk Charities, and Sheriff Judd does a great job of giving back to the community and protecting the community. So kudos to him and his whole department for what they do there. But we already talked about our second segment sponsor, and as we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about Weber International University. Of course, their college football season just completed a week or so ago, and we appreciate the time. And now we have the head football coach, Potochney, here on Sports Central with us. And Coach, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate
Did I
it.
get it right?
It was close. It was close.
What'd I tell you? I said 15 times I'll get it right off air, and then here we go. Coach P.
There you go.
That's what we're going to do. But Coach, welcome. Of course, wrapping up your first season as the head football coach there at Weber International University. But you were on staff prior.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't have to move down here. You were already here. Talk about that transition of taking over for Kelly and kind of where the season went.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that we were trying to change and do different, and it's been a process for sure. Luckily, we were able to, bring on board, keep a few coaches, bring on board some other coaches that were able to kind of help and aid in the transition process. But so yeah, we're definitely trying to change several different things. The first of which was the hardest thing to change, was trying to tweak our locker room culture and for our players, and be able to try to change their mindset into adapt to what we were trying to get them to do. So that's been the toughest challenge so far.
Super. What's, after this first season, your first season as a head coach, what from this season, what's some of the things that you can take as kind of a building blocks for next year and then in leading years for the program? Things that went great this year that can transform.
Well, I think the best thing that we can use is the way we're able to finish the season. So we finished the season by beating Warner University, who's our rival, in the Lake Calusa Clash. And we beat them pretty good. The score was 72-28, so we were able to finish the season really strong. But for us, there was a lot of really good things that happened during the season. We were competitive in a lot of games. There for a few of those, we were just able to finish and kind of get things done all the way up to the fourth quarter. So that's some things that we definitely have to work on. But there were a lot of positive things that happened throughout the season. But the best thing was obviously finishing with the win over our rival school.
That heals a lot of things, doesn't it?
It does.
when you end the season, I'm a Florida State fan and they beat Miami, and then they haven't had a great year, but if they can beat. Hey, did you hear me say that?
Talking to Coach?
No, I'm talking to you. Okay, he's a Miami fan, but if they can beat the Gators, it doesn't really. The rest of them don't really matter. I mean, coaches don't think that way, but fan bases do, right?
Oh, and the players think that way too.
Okay.
I mean, it's amazing. So we played Faulkner University, and we beat them for our first win of the season.
They were ranked, right?
They were ranked, yes, sir. So, like I said, we're a competitive team. It just we weren't able to kind of put things all the way together for 4 quarters, and a lot of that has to do with having a young team and just kind of unsure in certain situations. But we were able to beat Faulkner, and at that point we ended up being 1-7, and that next week in practice, it was like we were 5-0. I mean, the kids were practicing hard. It was just a completely different mindset for our team. So we battled that all year, though.
What with that strong finish, winning 2 out of the last 3, beating Faulkner and then Warner there to finish the season. What was it that the end of the season that kind of changed for the team, the group, to kind of build that momentum? And I know looking through the results, and as you said, a lot of those games that you were in were close right there till the fourth quarter, and ball bounced this way or possession happens this way, changes the game. But what to pick up those couple wins there at the end of the season, which I know was huge for the program to finish strong. What was it there at the end that kind of flipped the script a little bit and changed for the program?
Well, I think the kids, they competed hard all year. The toughest part about this season, our schedule was pretty tough, and we knew that going into the season that we were going to push them really hard, and our expectations for them to go out and compete were at a high level. But we knew that it was going to be tough if we couldn't generate some success early on in the season to be able to keep them playing and keep them pushing. But from day one, we told them that our expectations weren't going to change. Regardless of whether we won or whether we lost, that our expectations were going to be the same. And I think there towards the end, they finally started to kind of gel together. And we had a bunch of younger kids that were playing, so they started to gain some game experience, some playing experience. And so there towards the end, we just were able to kind of keep that same group of guys together, where we had some kind of injuries and things early on in the season. So they just kept playing hard, and we were able to kind of put some things together there towards the end of the season and score some points, and so hopefully we can use that as fuel into the off season, so our kids can get a little taste of that, and it kind of pushes them a little bit more.
Yeah, and along those lines, how do you take, because it sounds like you had a number of younger players that were getting some quality minutes there, how do you take that and use it as a springboard into next season? Because it's been tough. I mean, it's been tough on everybody, and I think everybody's kind of tired of talking about it, but the rules and regulations that are in there for COVID and first year and just a lot of things, tough schedule. How do you bundle all that together and move forward with your younger players and what will turn into hopefully leaders for next year's team.
Yeah, I mean that's the good part and bad part about having young players. It's it's bad right now because they are young players and they're going to make immature mistakes. But it's good if they can get to year 2 and year 3 with you, where they've already kind of made those mistakes and they've kind of grown in those opportunities. So it's just a matter of the coaches being kind of patient with those guys and understanding that this is what we're pushing towards. But I definitely think that we have a good group of young guys that can be potential leaders, which is one thing that we're trying to work on right now with our team is better leadership.
Wonderful. What's in regards to leadership, and we talked a little bit, but kind of what's the plan now moving forward to get ready for, let's say, next year? You just finished a couple weeks ago with this year, but what's the plan for the off season, and how do things get prepared for next year and the plans for that?
Well, the first thing we got to do is recruit better players. So we've had 3 game day visits so far, and where we were able to get some players out to the games, get their families on campus. We're going to have 2 more what we're going to call visit days, recruit days in December, and then we'll have 2 more in January. So our objective is to get as many kids on campus as we can, recruits, and that way we can sign a good group of guys on signing day. So really the season is over game-wise for us, but it doesn't stop. I mean, now we're full swing in recruiting. So I mean, coaches are only as good as your players that you can get to come play for you. So for us, it's about getting better players and guys that come in that will compete with the current players you have. So it's a lot of things that we're trying to get done right now.
Polk County being such a hotbed for high school football and talent, is it an advantage being this close, or is it a disadvantage when it comes to recruiting Polk County kids because maybe the mindset, I want to go a little further away, or so do you get a lot of Polk County kids, or is it a disadvantage because you're right here in their backyard?
It is both. And I think that's kind of, we want more Polk County kids, absolutely, for sure. But we're kind of on both sides of the spectrum, where some student athletes they kind of want to get away to have that experience, where some would like to stay closer to home. And so we kind of, it's not right for everyone because some kids are just different. But if we have an opportunity to recruit, somebody from a local school and they're interested in coming to Weber, then yes, we absolutely will recruit them.
Great. Wonderful. With speaking of locals, how many locals do you have on your team from this past season?
Not enough.
Not enough.
we have a handful of them. But I mean, you're right. The talent in Polk County is really good. So the more guys that we can get from this area, we would definitely love to have that. But we will do a better job recruiting Polk County from here on out.
And it's, and as Neal said, and even yourself, it's not as easy as it sounds.
No.
You got guys that have aspirations to go into bigger schools, or like said, kind of going out of town and hey, I want to go off to college. And we got tons of talent right here in the county, and trying to keep them close is a goal. So congrats on the first year. I know when you were previously on the show, seems like a couple weeks ago, but I know it was three months ago probably. We talked a little bit about kind of you were part of that original group from the original team back in the day. This is the Woodshed, I think it.
The Shed Boys.
Shed Boys, that's what it was. And now kind of going through all the way through from the original team for Weber, being part of that, playing, and now your first year as a coach. Just speak about that, kind of just that opportunity that you've had to kind of really see the program from day one, and now all of a sudden you're the coach. Just speak about that briefly.
Yeah, I mean, it really puts things in perspective because it's come kind of full circle. Mm-hmm. But even more so than that, I think it's more or less about the relationships that we kind of built throughout the program as a player and as a coach, and all those people kind of reaching back out and making contact. So I've talked to so many people in the last 6 months, just to kind of through the process, transitioning into head coaching position, everything. But just the support from all those people, I think, is really what's kind of the most unique about everything. Wonderful.
That's fantastic. Well, I was going to try to let it go, but I can't. Apparently, I missed the memo on attire for this show today with the two of you. I don't know if you guys can see, they got the same shirt, apparently go to the same barber. But I missed out on that. Maybe next time I can be included, Gerald, I don't know.
We can, you got the shirt, you just didn't wear it.
No.
And I can arrange for the barber.
Okay, well, no, that's Coach. We really appreciate the time. Appreciate you coming on Sports Central, and look forward to having you back next year and watching the program move forward under your leadership.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. Florida Jets is a fantastic remote control airplane event that comes to Polk County each year. We're going to take a look at some action from a previous event, and Gerald and Neal will be right back here on Sports Central.
I'm with Frank Giano Enterprises here at Lakeland Linder Airport in Lakeland, Florida. We're having Florida Jets 2021. We've been doing this on the airport for a little over 20 years, and this year is a very special year. We lost our good friend Frank Giano in January, and Sean Curry and myself have stepped up to run the event. This is a model jet event. These are small gas turbines. They're in aircraft ranging from about 20 pounds up to about 75 pounds. They fly anywhere from 15 miles an hour up to 200 miles an hour. We have about 120 registered pilots on the field, and we're going to have about 400 aircraft on the field. We're out here allowing our vendors, such as Elite Aerosports, which airplanes are behind me, Bob Violet models, CARF models. This is a venue for them to showcase their events, their aircraft, and show what they can do. And it's open to the public. We have a mild entrance charge. You can come in and enjoy watching jet flying all day long. We're here from 8:30 till 5:30 p.m.
Field reps are here to help customers from simple questions, support, setup, sales, anything they need. From beginners to somebody that has experience that might have a new model that needs certain settings in the model that we might already know that work and are developed. We help anywhere throughout the country with that and the world. This whole deal is just, it's about fun. Fun fly. Florida Jets 2021 has been going on for quite some time. BVM has always been a sponsor for that. Started back in '82 in the garage, most like any modelers around, and progressed to ducted fan, and then the natural progression up through turbines with just technology advancements.
everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. The content on air is good, behind the scenes is even better, but this third segment brought to us by Office Furniture Depot, great partner of Tourism and Sports Marketing. Have you ever flown a remote-controlled
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Had some pretty neat remote control trucks and so forth, but not remote control airplanes. Some drones, which didn't turn out too well.
So you're probably not going to go into the airplanes because those are a little more expensive than the drones.
Probably not.
All right. Well, as we continue our Weber International University takeover, if you will, it's been a great show, and we love learning more about the athletic department there at Weber. We're going to welcome Abby Thompson to the Sports Central. She is a softball player there at Weber, and Abby, welcome to Sports Central.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
So you said you are a second. Wait, I'm going to say it wrong.
I'm a super senior.
Super senior,
Yeah.
which is a new term in college sports.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I believe at all levels of college athletics, they're allowing, because of COVID last year, student athletes could opt in or opt out.
Yeah.
So basically got an extra year of eligibility, correct?
Yes. That's the one thing I'll thank COVID for.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that opportunity, because I mean, unfortunately, it doesn't matter at what level. At some point, every athlete, that's it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not going to be the case for you, but talk about, at least in your collegiate career, so this year's going to be it. What does it mean to you to get that extra year?
Yeah. I think it's bittersweet to say like it's my senior year pretty much. I know when we originally heard that our season was going to be ending because of COVID, everybody was pretty devastated until we were able to find out that we would get an additional year. A lot of seniors from last year came back. We ended up doing extremely well last season. We were regular season champions last year, and we were this close to winning the tournament championship. So going back, so this now being my last year, I don't want to leave without a ring. So we've got that fight now, and I think I speak for everybody on that we want to leave with a ring this year.
Wonderful. Sounds like you got a pretty good team this year.
Absolutely.
Coming up. So what are some of the kind of leading you into that? What are some of the goals for the team? Not only just team, but yourself as well.
So I think absolutely, winning the ring is the ultimate, as well as going past that to win a national championship. I think that's the overall goal for any team, especially for Weber. On our team, we have a motto, passion for purpose, and I think that speaks a lot for everybody, and especially myself, this being my senior year, kind of having to understand and come to the reality that this is my last year. And so taking what I've learned and taking what the coaches have taught me throughout my years here at Weber and be able to pass that on to the next generation. So I've been doing, private lessons. I'm going into strength and conditioning and personal training. So hopefully to motivate the next generation of athletes coming in. And as a team, we're ready to win.
So originally from the Orlando area, if I'm
Yes.
correct, what brought you to Weber? What made you want to come to Weber?
So originally I came from junior colleges, so I went to Polk State, and then I also went to Eastern Florida. Didn't have the greatest experience there, but I know I wanted to move on and finish my last, originally 2 years, but now 3 years at a school that felt like home. And so coming to Weber, the coaching staff really welcomed me with open arms and welcomed a lot of transfers in, and now it's very much my home. It kind of feels more like home than my actual home sometimes. And our team is very much a family. Weber's a very small school, so it's really nice to go to a school where everybody knows each other. There's probably like 1,000, if not a little more, students at that school, and also the scenery is just beautiful.
Wonderful. That's a pretty good plug right there for
yeah.
for the university. That was kind of my next question. What would your message be for high school individuals looking to kind of get into the college, and why would they want to come to Weber? But I think you nailed that one pretty much right there.
And I think in addition to that, I think a lot of athletes have that D1 or bust mentality. And if you come to an NAIA game, especially softball, the competition extreme. Like the competition is very difficult. So I think we need to get out of that mentality and go somewhere that feels like home, because you're going to make that experience no matter where you come from. And especially Weber. Weber's given so many opportunities. I know for me personally, this year I decided I wanted to do cross country. I love fitness, and so I was like, I want to challenge myself. And I think if I went to any other school, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I think Weber's just one of those schools where there's so many options available, and they give you that opportunity to make that happen if you want to try something new.
I think you make a great point with there's various levels of competition, whether it's in the collegiate sports or even the events Polk County Sports Marketing recruits into Polk County. That's the pinnacle of someone's career at some level. And I think that's a great point. So to that point, what would your advice be now that you've it looks like you've kind of been reflecting a little bit on all the things that have come to bring you to this point, playing college softball in your senior year here. But if there was a youngster at home watching the program, what would your advice be to that individual about competition or goals or objectives or anything like that? What would you say to them?
I think definitely making sure you're setting those goals and what you want to achieve, talking with the coaches and see if they can make that vision come to life. Especially my coach is very much my mentor. Like, I can go on forever about her, and she's helped. I think what I want to get at is make sure you're finding a coach and a team that's going to help you not only in your athletics, but as well as in life. Because ultimately out of this, we want to get out of college and be great people and be able to succeed in the world. So make sure you have your goals written. Do what you can to execute those goals, and especially do things with your team and learn to trust people, because I think that's another aspect of sports that people forget about, is, especially if you play a team sport, is learning to trust people and to build off of that and know that you're all there for a common goal.
And do your work in the classroom.
Oh,
Get your grades.
absolutely.
Well,
That's
we joked off
huge.
air, this is your second senior year. I had one of those as well, but I wasn't playing sports, so maybe I should have been in the classroom a little more. But
Yeah,
get your
academics are
grades.
huge.
Yes, that's right.
With the season just around the corner, starting here in February, and your final season, what are you most looking forward to this upcoming season?
I'm absolutely looking forward to having a really fun time with my team, getting some wins. Our team is extremely lively. We're dancing and doing all that kind of fun stuff before games. So I think definitely getting back into gameplay is what I'm really looking forward to, especially that tournament championship at the end of the year.
Wonderful.
So what does a successful season look like?
Definitely, we want to have a better win record than we had last year. We had a fantastic win record last year. We ended up being #1 in our conference, but we can still elevate more on that. So making sure that we're playing our hearts out, playing to the hardest all 7 innings, I think that's a big thing. I know our school is very much like the last couple innings, we really fight, but we need to do that throughout the entire game. That's going to be one thing. Especially just making sure we all have that heart and that passion throughout the entire season, so we don't fizzle out toward the end, because our ultimate goal is to make it to the end and further.
Yeah. You're involved with the Weber Athletics podcast.
Yes.
Speak a little bit about that, how you became involved with that and some of the specifics of the podcast.
Yeah, so my goal this year that I told myself is to never say no to an opportunity. I don't want to have any regrets, which is kind of why I also did cross country this year. So I saw the opportunity to be part of the podcast, and for me personally, I had never had that much experience in the media side of sports. I've always been involved in sports. So I love the opportunity to be able to talk to people and learn from their experiences. And just being open to hearing how different people have achieved their goals and what they want to accomplish, I think is really amazing to be able to hear from the other side as well.
So she's got a podcast. She's doing terrific right here. Do you need an internship to complete your degree?
I am actually about to be doing an internship.
You're late to the party.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
But I'm very open to internship opportunities.
Well, speaking of that, and kind of moving on, what do you want to do once college is over? Where do you see yourself going? What are some of those things that you're interested in and wanting to pursue?
So I 100% want to do strength and conditioning and personal training. My mom's a personal trainer, so I've grown up doing fitness and absolutely loved it. And it worked out perfectly because when I came to Weber, this is my 3rd year, when I came in, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to major in like sports business. Like I knew I wanted to go into fitness. And then they ended up, the year I came, they had sports performance, health, and fitness. So the timing worked out perfectly coming to Weber. And so that's definitely what I want to achieve. But you know, coaching, that's still not out of the question. Like I love coaching softball. I've been coaching youth right now. So that's still another opportunity that I would love to have open.
Wonderful.
Well, Abby, good luck this
Thank you.
season, not only with the softball, but all those plans that you have for the future. And we appreciate you coming on Sports Central.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to go to our final break, and we've heard a lot about Weber International University, and now we're going to see some video about the university. Stick tuned, whatever. We'll be right back. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central, the 4th and final segment. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and Cabana Club there at Lake Merle Sports Park is our 4th and final segment sponsor. And if you have not been out there, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is a very neat resort, and
RV slips and
yep.
cottages, and
starting to change a little bit too in regards to
Margaritaville.
Margaritaville now. and starting to get some of those schemes going. And I think technically January 1 that's when it becomes Margaritaville. So they're out there doing some tidying up and color schemes and all of that good stuff.
Well, not only do you have that, I mean, they've got the putt-putt golf, they've got the zero entry pool, they've got all sorts of amenities there, food and beverage, and it's right next to the Elite Cable Park, which is, of course, the cable water ski facility on Lake Myrtle. There's just a lot to see and do right there, and of course, then all the events that are going on at Lake Myrtle.
And even more coming right there with, potential ski lake coming soon. Looking to build some pickleball courts there right outside the gates there of the Cabana Club. So just continuing to grow right there at the Lake Myrtle Sports Complex. Sports park.
Well,
you're rubbing off on me.
I know the construction has started of the stadium there at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park.
It's another piece.
The championship multi-purpose stadium. Of course, we refer to it as the soccer stadium because of Florida Youth Soccer Association being recruited some years ago, making this the epicenter of youth soccer in the state of Florida. So really cool stuff going on. Really excited about it, and it all started with a segment sponsor.
Yeah, very much so.
We got some events we want to talk about.
Yeah, got a lot of things here to kind of round us out for the remainder of the November and a little bit of beginning of December. Got Florida Half Century coming in, as well as Fast Pitch, U.S. Fast Pitch softball tournament. Those events are out at Auburndale Softball Complex, the Diamondplex in Winter Haven and Walker Road, and then Fast Pitch softball tournament is out at the Bartow Softball Complex.
Yeah, we also have the Sunshine State Athletic Conference, their state championships. This past weekend was the first round of state championships, and then this coming weekend, November 20th, will be their final round of state championships. And of course, this is some of the smaller schools from around the state, but they host their state championships there at Bryant Stadium in Lakeland. And we've also hosted, we did their golf championships, Cleveland Heights. We want to thank Brock Whitmire and his whole crew. It was actually supposed to be at another facility, and because of some rain issues up in the Panhandle, less than 7 days the event was able to move from the Panhandle to Polk County to Cleveland Heights. So again, a special thank you to Cleveland Heights for doing that. But that Sunshine State Athletic Conference has been a great partner. We're hosting multiple events here. Had their cross country championships as well.
Yeah, Holloway Park. Yep. And a few events coming up that actually hosting at our high schools here in the county. Florida Elite Football having their conference finals out at Tenorock High School. And
let me interrupt you just real quick. There was, I think it was 10 teams made the FHSAA high school playoffs, and Tenorock made their first playoff appearance. So congratulations to them.
Guys. Yep,
Just
very first time making the playoffs there.
National cheer competition, big cheer competition, over 700 participants out at Bryant Stadium there in Lakeland, and then also out at Haines City High School, the Florida Alliance Youth State Championships will be held out there in Haines City.
Yeah, and as we talk about all these events, I think it's important for the viewers at home to understand that any given year, depending on COVID aside, 270 plus events are being recruited to Polk County, sponsored, activated on in some sort of some capacity, so that the team at Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing does an extraordinary job of bringing these events in. Because remember, these individuals are paying the vet tax. That money is coming into Polk County, but they're also shopping and they're eating and they're going to attractions, and so sales tax is generated. And there's just a lot of economic impact that's coming in from all these events. We want to remind you, you can go to centralfloridasports.com or visit centralflorida.org for a full listing of the events that we're talking about, or some of those other opportunities that are upcoming. But just wanted to throw that out there, because these events don't just show up. They have to be recruited through relationships.
Very much so. A few other things coming up. Prospect Wire event, baseball out at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex, also out at Northeast Regional Park and the Chain of Lakes in Winter Haven. That's December 3rd through 5th. And then Florida Elite, back to those guys having their SB Awards at the RP Funding Center, along with their Super Bowl December 5th out at Bryant Stadium. So big time right now for Florida Elite, kind of wrapping up with their cheer and all of their football.
Absolutely. And of course, Florida Half Century each year brings a number of their events to Polk County, their 50s and their 60s events. And on December 4th and 5th, we'll have Florida Half Century 60s tournament. That'll be at the Auberdale Softball Complex, Diamondplex in Winter Haven, and Lois Park in Mulberry, and then Walker Road, of course, in Lakeland. USFA, United States Fast Pitch Association, December 4th and 5th as well. And, we talked about the recruitment of the Florida Youth Soccer Association. Prior to soccer being kind of, a big economic impact for Polk County, a lot of baseball, a lot of softball, again, bringing those dollars into Polk County, and it's good to see that continues with the facility development side of things that we've done. Of course, Lake Myrtle, but the new 4 fields that are be open and ready for Rust Mat baseball in February, and then working with the city of Winter Haven to reconfigure and redevelop, if you will, the Channel Lake. So some exciting things in the works.
Yeah, definitely a lot of exciting things there for softball, baseball fields, and it's just miraculous to me the number of baseball, softball events that happen within this county. I mean, it seems like you can't go a weekend without there's a baseball or softball tournament somewhere in the county every single weekend, it seems like.
Well, and I think that's an important part, because if not just baseball and softball, but for all events. So you look at an entity like Polk County Sports Marketing that doesn't own facilities, so it has to work with partners to put these events and make the match between the event rights holders and facilities, and make sure that everybody comes together to pull off these, whether they're state, regional, national, international championships. So when you wonder, why is Weber on the entire show for Sports Central? Because they are a valued partner, because using those facilities and recruiting all over Polk County, it's important business.
Yeah, very much so. Last event we have on the schedule there, FYSA, speaking of our great friends there out at Lake Myrtle, their headquarters there. Their Futures Cup kind of wraps up the season for them, December 4th and 5th out at, like I say, there in Auburndale at Lake Myrtle. Just over 1,000 participants for that event.
Yeah, we recently, I mentioned it just a minute ago, but Rust Mat Baseball, of course, we have the Central Florida Collegiate Invitational each spring. Last year it wasn't the size that it normally is because of a lot of COVID restrictions that were implemented at the president and chancellor level of colleges and universities. But talking to Rob Sitz from Rust Mat, the 240 plus teams are already scheduled to come down to Polk County and really resume that event. Remember, that event helped replace the economic impact that was lost when the Cleveland Indians left a number of years ago. It's been over a decade now, I guess. But it's just a testament to recruiting, but also longevity of relationships. So that economic impact will come back. Yesterday in our sports and special events meeting, Ron Myers, Director of Florida Operations for the Detroit Tigers, talking about spring training and all the efforts that are underway. You can always tell when it's been a really cold winter up north, because we see some of those northern visitors showing up a little quicker, a little sooner there. We're looking forward to having the Tiger spring training back, Rust Mat, and also the spring games, which is the college softball spring training that comes each spring to Polk County. So working with Allison. So there's a lot of, we're not in our year in review show, but we're getting close. Yeah. We're excited about a lot of things coming.
We definitely have plenty of footage and events for that.
Yeah.
So
got some sponsors.
Yeah, special thanks to sponsors Hampton Inn, Winter Haven, Hollywood Window Tinting and Signs. Also our friends over at State Bridge Suites, Mabe Productions Installation, and Days Inn in Lakeland.
Yeah, you can listen to our sister show, Sports Central, on Talk 1430 WLKF or Talk 96.7. The Tuesday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. and Thursday evening from 5 to 6 p.m. Jenna, Mark, and Mr. Buckley.
Mr. Buckley.
Do a great job Thursday evening from 5 to 6, so you'll definitely want to check out that version of Sports Central. As I mentioned earlier, you can go to centralfloridasports.com or visit centralflorida.org for a full listing of events going on here in Central Florida's Polk County. Don't forget to visit the Visitor Information Center 1/2 mile south of I-4 on Highway 27. They give you all the visitor information you need, plus it's the home of the Water Ski Hall of Fame and Museum, so definitely check that out. If you want more information, give us a call, 863-551-4750. The next edition of Sports Central will be live December 3rd. I think it might be our last show, maybe next last show of the year. For the crew of PGTV and Sports Central, for Gerald, Richardson, I'm Neal, Duncan. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you again next time.